Today, all of the books that we're sharing are all focused on writer's craft. So many times we take a look inside a book and see that most of the time chapter books are put together in a very predictable manner. We have books set up with chapters and they're in paragraphs. And the books that we're looking at today are more unique than that. They have lots of different varieties in the ways that the writer has chosen to put the text on paper. And so today I'm sharing 6 different books with you of a different variety of genres, and each book has a different way that the writer has chosen to craft those stories. They've decided to do something different with the format or something different with the way they've placed things on the page. They may be doing something visually. They might be adding pictures, or they might be adding other elements that you'll see in some of the examples to do something with this to change up the way that they've put together the way that they're telling their story. So let's take a look at some different books that we have in our library that really look at the way that writer's craft can play a part in telling a story. The first book I'm sharing is in realistic fiction. It's called Flipping Forward, Twisting Backward by Alma Fullerton. You can tell from the cover that this is a gymnastics story, and just even from the title of the book, of course, we can see that as well. You might notice on the cover, if you look closely, we've got different alphabet letters also sort of floating around on the cover as well, which gives us a hint as to what this story is going to be about. This book is about a girl named Claire who is by far the best gymnast on her team. She is well on her way to qualifying for their state championships, and so she has been a gymnast for a long time and has really honed her skills. She is at school, though, spending more time in the office than she is in class, and this is largely due to the fact that Claire is trying to hide something about herself. She struggles with reading. It's incredibly hard for her because she has dyslexia. She's never really been able to make sense of the jumbling, tumbling, twisting backward of the letters on the page. And because of that, it's hard for her to struggle, or hard for her to study. It's hard for her to know what's happening on the page. And to hide that, she acts out in class, gets herself in trouble, ends up down in the office. And no one at school except for her best friend knows that this is the case. Her principal seems aware of what's going on and wonders if Claire is acting out because she's dyslexic. But Claire's mom doesn't want to push forward on having Claire tested. She's afraid that Claire's going to be labeled as stupid. She refuses to get her tested. And Claire has always just assumed that she's dumb. She has never really understood that maybe there would be something to be done with this dyslexia, and that she could actually move forward, and that this problem could have a solution of some kind. You've got to read the book to find out if she is going to find the strength within herself to take on her reading challenge and her mom's denial. When we take a look at the words on the page, there's plenty of traditional writing in this story as well, but we also throughout the book see lots and lots of times where the author has decided to play around with the language here. And you can see on this page titled Silent Reading, the way in which the author has decided to place the words kind of scattered around the page, almost poetry style. And we can see that playfulness with the language, almost flipping those words around, having them bounce around the page, really changes up the meaning of the way that those are written. The next book I'm sharing, also in realistic fiction, this one's called Doodlebug, a Novel in Doodles by Karen Romano Young. If you're someone who likes to doodle on the side of your notebook, if you like to draw, this would be a fabulous one for you to take a look at. It's really a combination of writing and drawing for sure. It's about a girl who understands exactly what it's like to go through a move and being the new kid at school. If you've been in either of those situations, or both, you will relate to Doreen, who her nickname is Dodo in the book. And the worst part of it all is that her family is making it feel like She is the reason that they had to move in the first place. Well, she got in trouble at her last school, and you'll kind of find out throughout the story what happened there. Dodo's little sister seems to make an easy adjustment to being at a new school, being in a new town. Why is it so hard for Dodo to get this happening? You have to read and find out why. Taking a look at one page inside the story here, you can see this is really a combination of writing and drawing, almost cartoon style, a little bit like a graphic novel might be done, although without the kind of boxes that are often used in a graphic novel. Definitely more like someone who's just doodling on the side of their page. Our third one to share today is a fantasy book, The Strange Case of Origami Yoda by Tom Engelberger, part of a series, definite fun one, and with lots of humor involved too. It just might take the wisdom of Yoda to make it through the 6th grade, at least according to Dwight, who is kind of an oddball in 6th grade, even according to his best friend Tommy. Tommy sits with him at lunch every day, but Dwight does a lot of weird things. Wearing the same t-shirt for a month, or telling everybody at school to call him Captain Dwight. Okay, these are embarrassing things. But Dwight does end up doing one cool thing, like making origami, and one day he makes an origami finger puppet of Yoda. And that's when things start to get really mysterious. Origami Yoda can predict the future and suggest ways to get out of tricky situations. Turns out that Origami Yoda's advice actually works, and soon most of the 6th grade is lining up to find out what they should do, right? They've got question after question after question, and Origami Yoda has all of the answers. What's going to happen when Yoda's advice continues to work, and will it, even when there are really important questions, like, I don't know, what Tommy should do when he's in a situation with a girl? You got to find out by reading the book. Again, it's part of a series in fantasy. When we take a look at the pages, I love the rumpled paper look to these pages, just like you've taken a piece of paper to try to fold it up for origami. And you can see that Yoda has his say on these pages too. Like at the top, Origami Yoda, the question, "Can you help me find my jacket?" Answer, "Last place you had it, remember, can you?" Origami Yoda, why does Dwight pick his nose so much? Picks it, he never does. And so on. In historical fiction, I wanted to show you another one where writer's craft certainly plays a part, and this is part of a series called Bloodlines. This is one book, Blood Brotherhood by M. Zachary Sherman. In this one, we have the story taking place December 1st, 1950. It is the heart of the Korean War. Lieutenant Everett Donovan awakens in a mortar crater behind enemy lines. It is during the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, where a mine explosion has killed his entire platoon of U.S. Marines. Shots ring out, right? Action ensues. You've got all the adventure and the battlefield right there. You're right in the midst of everything. And if you have an interest in what it would be like to be a soldier on the field, this would be a great series for you to take a look at. If we look at the way that M. Zachary Sherman has done this in his books, this is the way these books are put together. Again, kind of like a graphic novel with the panels, although again, the text is put down below or sometimes up above. So again, we've got some illustrations to go along with the story, giving us a chance to see the story in a different way than we would with just a traditional chapter book. Written in short chapters, this really does bring that historical fiction book to life. Moving to a mystery story, Letters from Camp by Kate Cleese, I think is how her last name is pronounced. This is a mystery in a very lighthearted way, as you can maybe tell just from the cover. If you've ever been to camp or you've ever wanted to go to camp, this would be a fabulous one to pick up. This book begins with a letter to home. Charlie writes, "Mom and Dad, you've got to get us out of here. When you get this letter, come immediately. Oh, this camp is not what it seemed. The camp is called Happy Harmony. So it seems like everything should be, happy. Turns out it is not. Everybody has to wear these bizarre uniforms, eat gross food, do chores all day, and then the members of the family that run the camp are fighting constantly with each other. So our main characters start to wonder if they are in danger and if there is something going on under the surface. Why is it that they're running this camp? Why are they fighting all the time? Why is it that everybody has to take care of the camp while they're there? No one signed up for this, so what exactly is going on? You've got to read the book to find out what exactly is happening, because of course there is not a real happy harmony situation. And if we take a look at the way this is written, it's really fun. It's lots of lists and Post-it notes and letters to home and things like that. So you kind of read the story by seeing all the different pieces from the different campers and the different family members, and you almost have to piece it together because it is a mystery. So you're using clues as you go through, and that would be an example of a page from the book. The last one I'm sharing today, 8th grade, is Making Me Sick by Jennifer Holm. When you got into middle school, maybe you thought this is where life is going to change. This is where things are going to be fabulous. Everything's going to be great. Well, that's what our main character thought. She had big plans for 8th grade. She thought, I'm going to try out for cheerleading. Maybe I'm going to fall in love. I think everything's going to be just fabulous. Turns out it is more of a roller coaster ride than she could have predicted. Jenny's family moves into this fancy new house when her stepdad loses his job. Her big brother keeps getting into trouble, and there's a new baby on the way, just as, she's finishing middle school. Are you kidding me? This is, it just seems like bad goes to worse. So in 8th grade is Making Me Sick. It's got just the right amount of humor. If you're a fan of Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Dork Diaries or the Baby Mouse graphic novel series, this would be perfect for you. If you see, this book is kind of part graphic novel and part scrapbook. In the way it's put together, this is one page from the book. It's comics, it's grocery lists, it's Post-its, it's journal entries, report cards, it's text messages, everything, right? And it's all this stuff put together. Sometimes it's just pictures of, like, you can see her kitchen counter, right? So you're putting that together along with the story to find out what is going on in Jenny's life, and is she going to actually survive middle school or not? So in looking at all of these books, getting a chance to see there are so many examples of where writer's craft plays such a fun part. We have lots of other ones here in the library, but hopefully this gave you a few just to think about and add to your list. Thanks for your attention, and happy reading.